So guys, again, this is how me out here doing the Lord's work, right? Like, you guys need to understand, like, when I drop hate merchant on a person, like, that's a very specific, highly identifiable label. And so let's get into the definition of a hate merchant. So when I talk about your Geordies, when I talk about, your what's her name, Katrina's, when I talk about any of them, right, like Snowflake, all of them, right, they're all merchants of hate. And if you recognize these patterns, you're gonna have to be honest about what this is. A merchant of hate is someone who profits from manufacturing, amplifying, or distributing negativity about others, right? Usually targeting individuals who can't or won't fight back. Their product is outrage, and their currency is attention, and their business model is emotional exploitation. So when you see terms like desperate or scared or crying, and they emphasize these things, which the videos I'm talking about, and they do, right? That's what her hate merchant is. It is a content creator whose revenue depends on someone else's pains. They don't create ideas, they create resentment. Their job is to turn another person's embarrassment, downfall, or misfortune into monetizable content. Does that sound like anybody you know? Does that sound like anybody you might know right now? So someone who positions themselves as an authority on a person who they don't respect. So they study their targets like a detective, which is really creepy, but they judge them like a bully would. They know everything about a person, but they don't know about themselves, okay? This is a person who weaponizes their own audience's emotions. So every video pushes the same buttons, and the buttons are going to be contempt, mockery, the can you believe this energy, right? And it's a dopamine hit from, somebody else's humiliation. That's what it is. The purity of it is you get a dopamine hit from someone else's pain. So if you fit that, if the shoe fits, right, wear the shoe, right? This is how this is how they bank on this, right? So this is also someone whose audience is trained to attack on command. They do that. You guys know how these like mini cults behave. They pretend like you don't want to harass anybody like the people you're trashing, but you need that level of harassment, that energy to stay relevant. So you're lying by definition. And they have these fake disclaimers. Like, that's when you know you're really dealing with somebody insidious, when they have a fake disclaimer, because they want to always say that I didn't do anything, right? I didn't do anything. I didn't put my hands out there, right? And that's how they operate. These are the people who, like, they're like the fish, right? The remora fish on the shark, right? They eat because of the shark is eating, right? They're in this ecosystem together. But if the target ever dies, they starve, right? And also, like, these hate mongers are typified as a person who hides cruelty. That's one of the key things. They hide cruelty behind saying, this is just my opinion, I'm just reacting, these are just facts, or this is entertainment. All the shit they will say in their disclaimers. Because what they're trying to do is sanitize their cruelty by delivering it as a product every day. Like, you take the actual human component out of what you're doing to make it like you're like this innocent person, right? But you're not spreading anything but foulness. And then you repackage that same hate, right? You put thumbnails on it, right? You put thumbnails about pain. You put titles that are, about how disgusted you are. You put faces that are in shock, right? Like, you do all this stuff, right? It's a pipeline of negativity. And it's a pipeline of negativity while you're doing it, right? And that's the thing. Like, they don't want to own up to the nastiness that they're festering, that they're nurturing, that they are actually thriving off of. And that's all I'm saying. Like, if we see a flower, right, the beautiful thing about a flower is that we know that flower was nurtured by, water and nutrients, love, sunlight. That's why flowers grow up to be beautiful. And that's why we love flowers, and they hit an emotional part of us, right? So imagine that you're something that thrives in a cesspool of hatred, of attacking other people. Like, this is where you thrive at. This is where you're best at. What does that say about you? Like, what are you going to come out as when all this is done based on what you feed into? So that's my thought. I just want to drop that definition of what a hate merchant actually is, so you guys know where I'm coming from.